Welcome, everyone. This is game 2 for the round of 64 or brackets of the main tournament, Link to the Past Randomizer. We have matt7898 versus Phaaze for their game 2. And those of you who can see actually on the tracker, Phaaze already actually took a pretty commanding lead for game 1. So while this is a best of 3 match, Phaaze has a little bit of breathing room. Matt is his back is against the wall. He absolutely needs to win this match in order to at least force game 3 and keep his tournament life alive. Of course, if you are a fan of Matt or just a fan of more rando, you definitely are going to root for Matt to hopefully take out a victory. And of course, maybe for those of you who missed game 1, I'm just saying that, there is a lot of value in Eastern Palace because that is unfortunately where Matt unfortunately last located his Cane of Samaria and kind of gave Phaaze, a pretty big advantage in that sense. So this game, see, Key Sanity should be actually quite the match to watch. A bit different than like the MC boss shuffle we had before. I'm Claire Mouse. I'm joined here by Shady. Shady, how's it going? You ready for this?
Are we already starting out with this Eastern Palace discussion? This has just come up right away. I wonder if Matt's going to start the seed and just literally just run straight over to the closet Eastern Palace. Maybe he needs some bombs or something for the closet.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It would be a funny kind of turnaround, reaction to the last play.
That's actually a really good point, Shady. I'm wondering if there's going to be, some amount of, memory from that game. But you know what? So we're gonna start in Sanctuary, and look at that. We already have a hook shot. So I guess we're not gonna see any bouncers here today, Shady, huh?
I'm so sad. That whole, what's the point learning a cool trick to get past the Mulder 2?
Exactly.
Just gonna get a hook shot in the first chest.
Yeah, and of course, all right. Any predictions here for Swan Palace? Are we going in immediately once we get basically everything?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It's Insanity. There's so many items.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's true. You such a good point. Yeah. This is tournament Key Sanity. So pretty much just like any other Key Sanity. See that you're gonna roll from Sahabat or Lazy Kid. But in this particular case, because it's part of this tournament, specifically the Castle Tower small keys and the Ganon's Tower big key are fixed in their original locations. Oh my God, Shady!
Let's go! We gotta go fast.
Yeah, it's check number 2 already. We got a hook shot. Basically clawed our way to the trees. Yeah, we got some boots. Oh man, you guys are super
nice
happy.
tier 1 tree pull as well. Got some money. Let's just get some free bomb pack now if we hop in the Lost Woods and we'll be super happy.
Yeah, no, my gosh. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we're basically, to playable. We got super speed already. We're really just looking for that sword so we don't have to stop our dashes. And of course, I believe, Shady, there's also pretty lucrative mirror out there, hopefully, that, our runners can be able to find
the other
that.
playable item.
Yeah,
it's not as important. It's not as important as it is like in cross keys and inverted, but it's still really nice.
Well, especially even for keys, right? The kind of the sense of, especially for non-key stuff, you kind of want to try and limit the number of dips you have in a dungeon. But I think for Key Sanity, especially, maybe you want you're kind of more lenient about that policy, right?
Yeah, heads up play by Matt now, running right straight back over the bonk rocks with those boots. It's something I often forget to do, and I like what Phaaze is doing as well to get a couple of bombs before going into Kakariko.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah, that's right.
Using the other bonk rocks, the one that doesn't give you an item but gives you a bomb. It's also very nice.
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, so actually good knowledge, I think, on both runners' side, right? You mentioned that, this case, tier 1 triple was Red Rupee, so, money does not look like to be, too big of an issue, at least. So they can also buy a couple bombs, but yeah, it looks like Matt is trying to take a little bit more chance, hoping that he can find a bomb somewhere in Kakariko before kind of maybe hedging his best to go buy some, from
yeah,
the
he's
shop.
Gonna get some bad news in a sec, actually. I like getting the second bomb. It's a little bit risky to not grab it, but I guess we'll see. There's still a couple more items you can get. And because in Key Sanity the items get shuffled in with the prize pool, it's more likely that a lot of the nice bomb packs or stuff are just in dungeons, so you're more likely to find keys and stuff in the overworld, so resources are a little bit harder to come by.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, because typically speaking, you still want 3 bombs to clear out the village, but yeah, like as we're kind of seeing, I think we saw a small key to Skullwood, small key to Thieves Town. Yeah, and the fact that we're not gonna probably have as high a chance in order to get bombs, it's actually really good. You know what? Hey, look, there's a hammer. that's a really cheap hammer actually for how much value we have out of it.
I think that's good value, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I also want to shout out our tracker today, Nervin Deutsch. I'm hoping I'm going to say this right for the remainder of this broadcast. But I mean, like, he's been doing a very excellent job, basically keeping track of everything that we see here. Keys, especially, definitely takes a lot more attention. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I've already missed what keys they've got. I'm already looking at the tracker because I've already just missed everything. I think I got a pod key from somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah, it must be somewhere, basically, like in the well,
like
or
there.
in. Yeah. Oh yeah, hey, there you go. That's right. Yeah, Matt. That's right. He didn't have any bombs, so he had to kind of come down here early. So yeah, that's definitely a good, detour in this case in order to be able to see that. Oh, we have power already. We don't have magic, Shady.
Why do people not start at the Uncle start? I don't understand
Shady.
it. Like, it's just, I don't know why people hate Uncle. You know,
Yeah,
Uncle's sitting
Shady.
right there for you. In vanilla, he has a sword. He could just as easily have something nice for you, and he's sitting right next to a couple of magic pots.
You know what, Shady? Okay, the fact that you are still actually here in bracket, still top 64, you're gonna play your games, I think, later on this weekend. I want to say, starting.
Sunday,
yeah, you do actually have some credibility, to your name when you make these kinds of statements.
Yeah, I made it to brackets despite me wanting to go to Uncle to start all this. So. I don't know if it's because of or in spite of, though. You never really know.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
there's a big key on the library.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, actually, ooh, interesting. We got. Oh, that's also big key to pot. That's probably pretty important.
I don't think Matt got that. Did Matt save and quit after the well?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because he didn't have a bomb to go into the back of the well, right? So he bought the bombs, went back, and then just saved and quit out. So that big key, I'm sure Matt will kind of go back later, but it is going to elude him for a time, for at least for the time being.
Yeah, it's one of the better big keys as well. Oh, a nice bow.
Yeah.
It's a nice start. They got some cool items.
It is. Yeah, so of course, Matt, again, you might have mentioned, for what happened in Game 1, Matt might have Eastern Palace on his mind a bit, but of course, keep in mind that, this is still Key Sandy, because that could be a big key to Eastern. It would be pretty hilarious.
Is it? Big key to Eastern? Come on, give it to us. Give it. No, turn lock.
So disappointed. Yeah.
It's one you want to find, but. Now, the bow doesn't do much for us without the big key at the start of the game. So, normally you can get excited if you forget its keys and just run over to Eastern and then suddenly realize and then get very sad.
Well, I mean, can we still get excited anyway?
No, you're not allowed to get excited about Eastern.
Not about
unless
Eastern Palace?
You can full clear it. You'll be very nervous.
Shady. We might be fighting for the rest of the match here.
I know, right? Until Eastern's fully completed on both times. Let's go!
Oh, dude, this seat
Boots
is
and
so
Mir, this is so cozy.
I know, it's so good. All we're looking for right now is just a sword. Please give us something to swing. We want to be able to dash with impunity. Although the loadout of weapons here so far is, quite nice. Matt, he does have blue mail, as we can see on our awesome tracker, so he's not, I think, as worried, but, of course, with the sword, right, we basically don't have to worry about this at all.
Yeah, the sword definitely enhances the quality of life from using the boots. You still would rather have boots, though, even.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. And also remembering, I think he and Phaaze both checked the early stun prize with that hook shot, so it is going to be a small heart drop, so it certainly could be something very useful knowledge, especially maybe we're in a dungeon. That is not a small key that we would probably like to see, especially early. Small key to Hera, because no one wants to sit through tile room, but progression has never been precluded in these very long checks.
Yeah, so it looks like Matt's got the water walk setup going here. Without the moon pearl, I kind of like going into the waterfall, getting the 2 items, and then running out and going to Hobo and leaving Zora for later.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's
I wonder if that's what Matt's going to do as well. Alternatively, you could just do Hobo, or you could just do the waterfall and run up to Zora. You probably don't want to do both.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess we'll see what he does.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He's gonna run out. He's gonna do what I just suggested. He's gonna check the lake item as well, and then run up to Hobo and end his route there. And he's got a good bit done, and he still has both his Zora items left, so they're not fully isolated.
Yeah, it looks like those Phaaze actually has the kind of the exact same idea. So you must know something about basically playing one of these bracket matches, Shady.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
Listen,
see.
Phaaze is doing a different thing. Phaaze.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, we'll see this.
So
Yeah, so
I've chosen the thing with the guy who's one game down has done. So that shows my pedigree now. Oh no, Phaaze is running back. He's running back. Okay, I'm
oh,
kind of
interesting.
indicated here.
Yeah, well, this is actually pretty interesting. So I think one of the potential reasons why people don't maybe check the Zora ledge specifically as often, when they don't have enough money for Zora is, so like now like for Phaaze, Zora is actually pretty isolated, right? It's kind of like the one thing over there. Of course, we can get to Dark World, go over to Catfish, and mirror over. But it is right now kind of sitting by its lonesome. Matt, on the other hand, does have an extra incentive to go check Zora along that Zora ledge. But you know what? You were talking about Uncle.
Uncle has nice things. I don't know why people hate Uncle.
Oh my gosh! All right, we got.
Look at this magic you wish you had when you were in Kakariko.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Well, all right. So I guess with the hammer and I guess with that glove, well, we're still missing a pearl for Dark World access. But I guess we do have a permanent weapon. So maybe for those of you who remember main tourney 2021, standard hard all the way. I believe Matt was a participant as well as. So I think he's probably well accustomed to a hammer escape.
Hammer and bow as well, two very good items, and the mirror that they can mirror out very quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Dark Cross. Although doing the Dark Cross without a sword or a lamp is a bit annoying, so he may elect not to do that.
Yeah, I mean, right, we do have a hook shot, but I think but like using that hook shot as some sort of like an echolocation is, like especially if you hook onto like nothing, right? Like the hook shot animation actually can be quite long.
It can be a bit slower. The one nice thing is that when you do have the boots, you can use that bonk setup on the lamp to line you up with the chest in the sewers, so it's easy to find that item.
Alright, so we're actually kind of seeing a bit of a consequence of still just not having that sword. I mean, especially Matt, a very, very accomplished NMG runner, basically going for the 124 grind, so he's very accustomed to having a sword. Jeez, Shady, have you heard of the saying, go to where the items are?
Yeah, I know, right? Okay. Well, at least they're both doing it, though, so that's nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, like, both of them are, basically, very, very similar routes, right? Basically, Phaaze did a little bit more investment in Kakariko, got his Pod Bicky off of Library, which Matt hasn't done. Check the Zora ledge that Matt hasn't seen, but other than that, I mean, they've been basically doing the same thing, and their routes have actually been paying off pretty well, right? Getting a flute, getting boots, getting a hook shot, getting hammer, getting a glove, like, got a lot of stuff. Looks like Matt, though, probably wants a little bit more health going to Dark Cross. You can take a death warp.
Oh, maybe the fairy alluded to him, because they both got the fairy drop. But I guess the fairy flew away or something. Phaaze wants that. No,
I guess in this case, yeah, like, I guess the fairy is gonna not be present for both Phaaze and Matt.
Yeah, I expect the next play after this is going to be the back escape, so it's good to just get all of the castle done.
Oh yeah, that's certainly a really good idea.
With that glove. And after that, then it gets a little bit more interesting. I guess you're going to go and activate your flute, and if you're Matt, you're going to go then to the library and the maze race, I would expect.
Yeah, and then since we do have...
There's options then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so then, because we do have the magic, and Matt also got, a full magic drop, looks like, but we can also go do magic bat now.
Yeah.
Finally.
Good to get that cleaned up, and mountain is available. You can do a lot of stuff on the mountain, so I guess you can further delay the Saha Eastern area.
Oh right, yeah. With the flute, that is our logical mountain access as well. We don't need no lamp where we're going. I guess okay. In this case, Shady, like, would you go rescue the old man now? Especially without like a sword or anything like that, or just kind of wait.
That's a good question. It's going to be a little bit slower. Even a hookshot is fine to do, but it's just going to be slower. So it's perfectly acceptable to just leave the old man for later.
Okay.
And there's some people who would definitely want to do that. Nice Samari in the back escape. We need that for later. It's not super important now. But both of them are going to get it. All the items so far, the other person's not going to skip them. So this is all the items that they're both going to have, and they know they're both going to have.
Yeah.
So there's not too much divergence just yet.
So far, yeah, but at least from Matt's perspective, given that was his late-ish necessary item, he's probably happy to see that King of Samari on the sooner side. Of course, Canis Maria also will, let people do, like Diver Down, with the Canis Maria, specific icebreaker as well. So, and while Matt does have a bit of seemingly expertise with the vanilla Big Key chest and Skull Woods, it's always nicer to have the Canis Maria in order to hold down that switch as opposed to kind of drag and drop that statue.
Yeah, well, his expertise is going to mean nothing unless he has a sword going in there. Otherwise, otherwise it's going to be havoc for him, just like anyone else. So there's the pod biggie for Matt. He's taking the South Wood in because he has these South items, which I guess makes sense.
Right.
They're probably gonna. Oh, Phaaze hasn't done Bonk Rocks. He's doing that now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
Probably still gonna just about sync up pretty shortly.
Yeah, and right. I mean, like the difference right now, right, between Matt and Phaaze, is just like probably 1 to 2 checks worth of time, basically.
Just the Zora Ledge check, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I think you're right at this point. Phaaze, however, looks like he's gonna check Lumberjack.
I don't think Matt checked this, did he?
No, they both definitely, they definitely went straight into Lost Woods, but I guess like Phaaze hasn't activated his flute yet either, so I'm assuming with this he's just gonna go rescue the old man and go up the mountain.
No, you would still activate your flute and flute up. I think that was a rod of some description.
That's an ice rod.
That's the ice rod. Okay, I can see which one.
Okay, well, so the good news is that it's not MC Boss Shuffle, so, there is going to be exactly 1 Trinex today. The 2 TBD news is we don't know if Turtle Rock is a crystal pendant.
Yeah. We have to go and find both of those Castle Tower smalls as well. The Castle Tower smalls that we know are in Castle Tower. So, yeah, if anyone isn't sure, in this particular version of Key Sanity for the tournament, both Castle Tower smalls are vanilla, so they're there in Castle Tower. You don't need to go and find them. And the Ganis Tower Big Key is somewhere in Ganis Tower basement as normal. But everything else is just shuffled wherever. So we can get that ice rod as soon as we can get into the tower.
Right, and
but we're quite far from getting into the tower right now. We have very little that'll let us in.
Yeah. So typically, what would you most often kind of like look at when you think of maybe it's an Agostine, right? You certainly want at least a sword. A cape is pretty telling. The fact that we don't really have a lamp either. We're missing every single piece basically in order to get into Castle Tower. So it's certainly a bit farther off, but I mean, it certainly does not preclude the game kind of being able to give us some of those items.
That's a nice moon pearl on. Oh yeah, we saw that on Matt's side. That's a big information advantage for Phaaze.
Oh yeah.
And I am a little worried for Matt because Matt has done Bonk Rocks, and that's traditionally when you would nip up and check the Lumberjack item. So Matt might not see that ice rod for a long time or ever.
Okay, yeah. So if you're rooting for Matt, you're gonna hope that Turtle Rock is a pendant, or that even if it is a pendant, like we don't need to go kill Trinex for any reason. Yeah, but okay, yeah, we actually have some, real divergence at this point. Matt has actually decided, even though he does have Darkhold access, went up to Paradox Cave. I think, as noted, also, he did find a swamp small in Paradox Cave. Did you happen to catch what was on Floating Island?
I missed it.
Yeah.
Did anyone in chat catch it?
It didn't look important. I hope it's not important, at least. Oh, small key to GT. Okay, so that is our first one. And okay, so while while the big key to GT is still in the basement somewhere, those GT small keys could potentially actually make a little bit of a difference. Just because you do need, well, you don't know where the key is, so if you go hunt for it, you really kind of want well, at least one kind of like to your name, right?
Yeah.
Because then you could like at least safely clear it.
In practice, the GT small keys are just never an issue. I can't remember the last time there's actually been an issue with small keys in GT. Okay. So I don't really consider them worth worrying about.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
It's a crazy edge case if they're actually relevant in a normal key sanity.
Oh, well, we're here for the popcorn, Shady. Yeah, but this is actually going to be very slightly, so I guess maybe Matt kind of wanted to take a peek into what was up there. So, okay, so we have a swamp small. We have mirror, we have hookshot. So kind of like the only major thing left is just finding kind of like those flippers, and then we can get into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, we probably still want to have the big key as well. So we don't want to super rush in there without the big key because we might be isolating an item.
Oh yeah, excellent point. That's right. The only big key that is fixed is the GT big one, and you know, like Swamp Palace, big key, Ice Palace, big key. You know, these are kind of like the big keys that you might consider like trying to hold off, you know, for the dungeon because it is a gigantic pain to get back there.
Is this our first check of... Okay, Eastern and Turtle Rock are the 5-6. I don't think Phaaze checked that, did he?
No, he has not. He basically went straight into Hype Cave and then looks like he, you know, went basically south to K45 and then did game.
Okay, so we also see that Thieves and Mire are pendants and Pod is a crystal.
Nice.
I couldn't quite see if Thieves was a green pendant or just a regular pendant though.
Looks like also, according to our tracker, Nervendeutsch, he marked Turtle Rock as the green pendant. So that okay. So yeah. So I guess by then Thieves Town must be a regular pendant, but then also like that ice rod potentially, you know, potentially not needed, but in this seed.
That's so. Well, on one side of the tracker it's marked as a red crystal, and on the other side it's marked as a pendant.
Nervendeutsch. All right, sorry. Okay, no, my bad. Yeah, the soft.
Didn't we just learn from the 5-6 dude that Eastern?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Shady.
Red crystals.
You are 100% correct. That's why you're here in brackets, and you know how to read the map trackers. Yeah. No.
I am not the fastest at map check. I do very slow map checks when I play. I lose many seconds. Phaaze is having fun in the dark room. Which dark room is he in again?
He's in where he's trying to rescue the old man.
Is this the old man? Yeah. One thing you can do here is if you plant a bomb, it's a lot easier to just see where you're walking. The boomerang's probably the best thing that isn't a sword for navigating the dark room, but the hookshot you can get by. But a bomb is also a good item, especially if you have lots of them. But it looks like he's got it on.
Yeah. I think also like the fact that they do have boots, right? They can kind of like kick up a little dust. I think that's what Phaaze is also kind of trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know how that helps. I mean, obviously it does because Phaaze did it fine, but I feel like that. I don't know how that would help you know where you are. I guess it does though. Maybe that's something I need to look into.
Alright, so actually, yeah, okay, alright, so, okay, all the, you know, technical challenges, especially with the tracker, can certainly, you know, eat a couple inputs. Okay, we confirmed that Turtle Rock is a, you know, not only is a crystal, it's a 5-6 crystal. And so that knowledge, though, you know, that Phaaze has when checking Lumberjack with the Ice Rod being there, I mean, so Phaaze 100% knows it's going to be an Agassiz. Matt, TBD on when he ends up checking Lumberjack. He's kind of already, I don't know. I mean, okay, he does have the mirror, and he eventually will probably make his way over to like Skullwoods. I don't believe he's also checked Bumper Ledge either, so that's also could be another good opportunity for him to do so.
Yeah, maybe. I hope he does, but he might not because Lumberjack's the kind of thing you just never look at. Unless you look at it early when you're doing Bonk Rocks, you just never look at it.
Yeah, well, I guess, like, I mean, right, the good news is, of course, he has the boots, so it's a little bit more higher incentive. That was a really nice quick fish on Matt's side. Again, you know, a very, you know, accomplished NMG runner trying to shave off a little bit of time as much as he can, and kind of confirming that, well, it is actually, you know, hitboxes is actually a box and not a circle.
And Matt's now going to use the mirror, nip up to Zora. He's going to check that nothing item on Zora Ledge. Meanwhile, Phaaze is in Hera, and the game's been kind enough to give us the Tower of Hera small key, but without a fire source to let us actually make use of it, so thanks, game. Okay, so now if something here is good on Zora, Phaaze might take a while to get back to it, but unfortunately it's just a bug.
Sadly, it is probably not going to be as high value. You know, not only for us, you know, both runners have the boots, you know, and of course, this is, unlike, you know, tournament hard, you know, this particular item set is just, you know, very, very standard. Jeez, Moldorm. Oh, no. He's so mean.
That was, the way Moldorm just turned into him, I didn't expect that either, so I totally don't blame Phaaze for, that was I wasn't predicting that particular movement from Moldorm. I wasn't expecting to turn into.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh, dude, this
Moldorm,
guy
just.
is such a jerk.
I know. Oh, that's not a good spot to stand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Good.
you can actually, you can see in this case, like, why it's, you know, it's so nice basically to have a sword, right? I mean, sword is as defensive as it is offensive, and Moldorm is really cheese. I'm wondering how much trouble.
This is a very weird spot for Moldorm to be hanging out. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Easy, first try. All right,
That's
good.
That's right. Oh, all right. Okay. So speaking of, you know, we've been pretty entranced with, you know, Phaaze being bullied on by Moldorm. Matt is made his way back into the Dark World, so he is in the front of Skullwoods. I don't know if he necessarily believes in, you know, the Dunka stats here, but he's here without a fire rod or a sword, hoping in this case to find some value. We do find our first bottle, so
Yeah, this isn't ladder though. Dunka has no power here.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're not guaranteed any good items in Skullwoods. The bottle's nice though, but
yeah.
We're not guaranteed any progression.
Yeah, so far, of course, right. The bottle does open up Sikit, of course, and right, and just in terms of safety, you know, items, everything is normal. You know, we're gonna get gold sword potentially. You know, we could get red mail. We're gonna be able to carry all 4 bottles. You know, all this stuff. You know, regular non-progressive bows with silvers. I mean, it's all available to us. So even though, you know, the runners are at least this point kind of like early to mid game as a little bit lower on health, they're certainly not going to turn down safety, but certainly not going to be like as meaningful, you know, as some of the other, you know, more harder item pools.
Yeah, I think the main safety they really need is a tempered sword.
Oh yeah, that's true. We got hook shot first item. We got boots second item. Matt.
I love the way the mummy's standing there, and when you don't have a sword, there's nothing you can do because you can't use any of your Y items when you're in the doorway, so you just have to tank the damage. So if you're playing inverted or something and you're just really low in health and you've just barely managed to scrape your way through the first room and the mummy's just standing there and you have no sword,
that's when you're
that's
really
when you cry.
Alright, looks like the Phaaze has just decided to just come up the mountain as well before kind of making some more potentially North Dark World checks. Alright, this is going to be Matt's kind of like major opportunity here in order to check out. So he does have the mirror out, so this looks like it is going to be a lumberjack check as well.
Oh, this is really good news. I'm seriously relieved now he's checking this because I probably wouldn't have.
Well, this is good, you know, scouting potentially, you know, for your maze, for your race upcoming.
Yeah, that's right. I'm learning my lessons from these guys. Yeah, he did the same thing. You can only see the handle of the rod, right. So you have to go up a little further to see the color of it.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly very telling. Especially if it was going to be like a fire rod as well, right? Because, you know, fire rod does unlock a lot more stuff, right? Because, for example, we can get to the back of Skullwoods with the fire rod, and, you know, versus the ice rod is like, okay, I just need to eventually go do Castle Tower as opposed to maybe on the sooner side.
Yeah, that's true. I think they'd still rather have that sooner rather than later, but they're probably not going to go until they feel it's fairly efficient to go. They have good weaponry, they just need a lamp to make it faster.
Right.
But silver arrows or a fire rod would also make it just a little bit faster as well to get up through the rooms.
Yeah, but of course, though, we are...
sword,
yeah.
Sorry, Miss.
No. I was gonna say though, we still are still lacking a bit of, you know, like entry equipment, right? No swords still.
Not just a bit. Like we're lacking anything to get in the door.
Yeah.
Super early spike cave check. Spike cave's always garbage. Why do people check it?
Yeah. Why do people check it until something is there? Alright, so I did see that Matt has revived the brewery chest turn, not unfortunately yielding anything important. Hey, look, we finally have the first entry piece of Aga Tower, which is in the Dark World, of course, and the chess game is in the lamp.
Yeah, but also, slightly importantly, is that Matt is getting the lamp before he has been to Tower of Hera, whereas Phaaze has already been in and gotten a couple of the items. Now, Phaaze still has 2 items left in Hera, the big chest and also the basement, so it's not super isolated either. There's still a couple of items there. And if you combine it with Ether Tablet as well, you can get some value from revisiting. But Matt hasn't been at all, so the lamp is going to make it nice.
Right.
When he goes there, he's only skipping the big chest.
Yeah, and of course, like we did see that on Phase's side, Tara Hero was a pendant. So I guess I'm not sure if I'm gonna assume that Matt will probably go up there and full clear it. Especially if it is especially early. There are a lot of items up there.
No, the basement can be any item. The big key can be anywhere in the world. It's not confined to Tara in this mode.
Right. Yeah, right. So this is Tournament Key Sanity. The only keys that are confined to their original dungeon are the Castle Tower small keys and the G2 big key. The Phaaze actually coming into Village of Outcasts. Matt's gonna give us a check that Phaaze will not be able to unless he magically finds a bottle sooner. And you know what? Bottles begets more bottles.
That happens so often. I have so
man.
much times I bring my bottle to the sick kid, and then he's just like, "Here's another bottle."
Here's
I
another
don't know
bottle.
why that's so common.
It's like he literally doesn't want to take his medicine, right? It's like, I'm sick. Well, here's some medicine. You can have it for me.
He's pretending to be a waterfall fairy.
Exactly.
Here's a bottle, except for red goo.
Alright, yeah, so I think we also, worth noting, Matt was here in, Thieves Town a little bit earlier. It is a pendant. We did pick up the big key to Misery Mire, which actually is our third pendant. I don't know if they need that or not. Maybe, hopefully not. But it is actually probably worth noting. Of course, no medallions at this point to be able to get into Mire. Not that we have a mitts or anything like that in order to also get over to the area.
Or a sword to even use the medallion.
That's right.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, that's right, dude. We're like 30 minutes in. So this is actually not swordless. People there are swords somewhere out in the world. In fact, all 4 of them somewhere. We just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, they were talking in the race room before about how Key Sanity, oh yeah, that's a pretty decent mode. Although, are we going to get boots? And but you see, they didn't think to ask for swords.
Exactly.
They thought to ask for boots. So the monkey's paw curled,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Here's your boots."
That's right. He's like,
"Enjoy bonking things."
Yeah, no problem.
Ice Palace small key pickup is quite nice as well. You want one Ice Palace small key because it makes ice routing a lot better. And same for Mire, and often the same for Skullwoods as well.
Yeah, it looks like.
So really, the most useless small key is like sometimes the Hedgerow Castle one, but the GT small key is almost never relevant.
Especially not, basically going all the way to like the dig spot. So. Oh yeah, that's right. We're actually going to see, I think, a little bit of time gain on that side, just because he does have the lamp. While, he doesn't have, again, still any type of, like, sword or anything, Phaze's probably, like, major obstacle was that, well, there was, like, literally nothing to guide him, right? But Matt's got this really convenient light cone, in order to be able to rescue the old man.
Yeah, and, like, not only can he move optimally, but he can use his boots as well because he can see. So,
yeah,
much nicer. And this goes to show why sometimes you can consider delaying the old man.
Alright, so actually, yeah, it looks like according to our trackers, that is our 3rd Skullwood small key. I mean, so by at least key logic, that does open up Mothula. We do need all 3 of them. Of course, we still don't have an entry, as you mentioned, because we don't have a sword. the curtain game, in this game it's incredibly strong.
Yeah, I know. It's like the 3 keys do unlock Moth, but it's only Moth and Skullwoods that's locked by the 3 keys. And he's also locked by Sword and Fire Rod, so it's like still miles away.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of, whether or not this is going to be an early, dip here into the Palace of Darkness Eastern area on Matt's side, of whether or not he was influenced by Game 1 or not, he's here!
Nice bonk there.
Yeah, I think he was trying to hammer dash his way over, which does look pretty cool if you can get it. That's another Turtle Rock small key. All right, we certainly do need those. 3 of them will let you full clear the dungeon. Get through the dungeon and beat it. We do, of course, need 4 of them to full clear the vanilla big key chest. Tends to be somewhat left if you only have 3 keys.
Yeah, it's quite nice equipment going into pod. We can do a lot in pod, including beat the boss.
Oh yeah, that's true. We have a hammer. We have a bow that both of them picked up as the dam. We have the big key and a couple of small keys as well. So yeah, it's certainly going to be really nice.
This is a nice place to be, for a change. Instead of going into pod with 1 key to find your critical progression, or 0 keys sometimes.
Yeah, and certainly contrast, right, to potentially if you come in here with like 0-1 key and then your opponent, somehow delays coming into pod with like 2 or 3 keys, it's just like the mountain of difference, right, it can be quite extreme.
It's quite interesting how early they have full map knowledge. Phaaze can just like ignore that map in Graveyard Ledge because bolt runners already know all the information. So that's quite interesting. You don't normally see that as...
Yeah, that is also a good point too, right? Because like typically speaking, like the fastest way people kind of get this type of like a crystal pendant knowledge is, well, you have to wander into a dungeon and then beat it, and that's your best bet.
Yeah, I don't think Matt has all that information actually, because Matt hasn't cleared Hera for the pendant, so Matt maybe doesn't know about Hera being a pendant or not. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
Phaaze does anyway.
Yeah, but it's certainly very reasonable, for Matt to come over here because, as you said, right, like we have basically everything, we can have to basically beat pod. So that, of course, will basically give Matt another. It'll get him like a crystal in this case, and put him on the board.
It's very interesting to see bolt runners do the current jump, even though they have alternate East Dark World access. They both nailed it first try as well, but it's just interesting to see them do it.
Yeah, Phaaze remembering that he doesn't have his, or he's at least reminded. I would actually maybe, so I know Phaaze plays like a ton of cross keys, both of the regular and inverted kind. So certainly, I guess we expect him to know his way in order to navigate around the overworld.
Yeah, I find cross keys players are good at certain particular things, and one of them is like using the warp pools to get around. They're much better than average rando players at using the warp pools. But also all the cross keys is also full key sanity, so this is definitely a mode he's going to be fairly comfortable with.
Right.
He's going to be used to like remembering which keys he needs for which dungeons and figuring out the map information and stuff. This is going to be right in his wheelhouse.
All right. Well, so back on Matt's side, we actually have our second potential piece of getting into Castle Tower. So we did find a cave. So where is that sword? Shady is going to be here in pod as well.
Yeah, I'm really sad that it can't be like in Castle Tower because the keys are vanilla.
Yeah.
Because the cape gets us in, it just doesn't get us all the way to Aga.
Exactly, yeah. Man, that sword, so there are like vines in the back of School Woods that we can't get through without a sword. There is that apparently, iron curtain on the back, between us and Aga. Like, we need our plastic fighter sword in order to cut through this. We did also find Quake. That is a potentially necessary medallion. Unknown if we actually need it or not, but at least it's nice to have medallions, sooner rather than later as well. Okay, so with just a little bit of rounding differences, looks like at least both Phaaze and Matt is going to converge here in the Palace of Darkness, potentially Eastern Palace area. Looks like Phaaze is going to, do the same thing that Matt was kind of doing, check Saha. He already has pendant knowledge, so doesn't need to go talk to him, but then also kind of looks like he's going to explore out the pack of pod.
Yeah, it's been a seed full of very kind of obvious, sensible plays so far, so that's why there hasn't been too much divergence. Just a little bit in terms of like Phaaze doing Hera early and a couple of overworld spots. But I'm not surprised to see them kind of do largely the same thing. And to be honest, I quite like this because it's people who just do slightly better or slightly more efficient routing, or maybe who execute slightly better, win these kind of seeds. And I much prefer that to the big, massive, swingy gamble ones where you just look into the right route. So this makes for a much better race.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Unfortunately, these turtles do not look like they're going to cooperate as much, with Matt.
I think he was positioned to roll a little incorrectly for the second hammer hit. It's not something you practice. It's a bit different. Like this is the all dungeon strat. You just use the hammer because you only have a fighter sword, and it's the same without a sword. But it's not something Matt's would have practiced too much recently, because he's just been doing so much regular NMG, so he's used to the sword out strat, which is just a little bit different. Your movement speed is a bit different, so your timing's a bit different.
Oh, see, no, this is all really good knowledge. I was even going to ask you, like, if the sword actually helps your setup. You know, so speaking of potentially NMG, you know, so one of the things you get to kind of do is try to use your spin speed, you know, in order to kind of offset the hammer hitbox, because the hammer does temper sword damage. Matt, no sword, was able to actually use hook speed. You actually kind of saw that little hook shot, like, kind of deal against the door when he got in. Gives you the exact same offset hammer ability, basically, and that was actually really nice Helmet Sword fight.
Yeah, it's really cool being able to being able to think of that, even and arguably easier to get the hook speed than the spin speed.
Oh yeah,
It's really
that's
annoying,
right.
especially going into a helmet fight. From personal experience, that spin speed can be really annoying.
Okay, alright, Shady, do you think the Eastern Palace Big Key is here at Eastern Palace?
Are we seeing the Eastern Palace dip? Is this what's happening?
This is actually happening on Matt's side. I think, you know, the siren call of Eastern Palace being right here after a clearable crystal pod is probably too strong for Matt, even somebody like Matt to avoid.
Maybe. I do. I mean, jokes aside, I do like the efficiency of just nipping in here to Eastern, because you're right there, and because there's a reasonable chance it might be a required double dip. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see which emote triumphs in just a minute.
Phaaze, unfortunately, it looks like he has a little bit of trouble with those mimics, but he is making his way back into, you know, the pod, and then presumably, you know, because he's gonna go back a pod first, he'll clear out Helmasaur and then, you know, go to, like, you know, the backup pod, like in order to get the big chest, and then like the basement as well.
Yeah, but Phaaze remembered not to hit the switch with the pegs already down, so that's the hardest trick in pod. Hammering up second hardest.
That's true. Yeah, Phaaze, of course, I think pretty thankful that he has the lamp. I mean, of course, you know, again, a very capable runner, both Phaaze and Matt. Definitely knows how to navigate, you know, their dark rooms, but you're always going to be, you know, pretty happy, especially here in pod basement. You know, before going to Helmasaur, it certainly can be kind of a scary dark room.
This turtle room would be a nightmare on this equipment if they didn't have the lamp. Without a sword, they can't use the medallion. You can try and do the hammer setup, the swordless all dungeons setup with the hammer, but it's trickier, and this would be a nightmare. I'd hate to do that room. I think I'd just leave, to be honest. I'd come back with at least with a sword so I can use a medallion, which would make it a little bit easier. If you had to, you get around it. Maybe you could get the bow out and try and put an arrow in the turtle and then see them that way. But
I mean, but that also sounds really difficult as well. I mean, you know, I'm all, by the way, for using the bow for like anything basically. But you know, especially how fast these turtles move, it is really difficult.
Yeah, and a nice helmet from Phaaze as well.
Yeah, that
very
was,
good helmets both sides.
I mean, you know, these guys are both here in brackets for a reason. I mean, definitely, you know, very high caliber execution.
Yeah, Matt has almost full Hera, but he doesn't have the big key, so he's still leaving an item. And also Hera's a pendant. I guess he doesn't know Hera's a pendant, I think.
Yeah, but also I think you pointed this out earlier, you know, the fact that Matt is here now later on than Phaaze. We have that additional fire source, you know, and we did pick up a Hera small key earlier, that, you know, Phaaze does not have that light source, which is the lamp. So, you know, Hera Basement's gonna actually be, you know, an additional check, you know, from Matt that Phaaze was not able to do when he was up here.
Yeah, and there's no question of skipping it in this mode. Like, when you get the items necessary to do it early, you just do it in Key Sanity.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I would be shocked if you skipped it. We would be having words.
We would be having many a word.
Right, so we're gonna find out now if the Terra big key was all vanilla all along, like people in chat were saying. Oh, the really nice thing about playing with quick swap is that you can get the peg set up here, but you don't have to lose time doing it, because you would have to waste a menu to do it without quick swap, so it would just lose you a little bit of time.
Yeah, it looks like the Phaaze is gonna set up the hammer from the north. Actually, done pretty nice job.
Yeah, you get a lot more time from the north to do it, but you have all the time in the world because the bridge takes forever to start falling. But people are less used to it, so it can be a little more difficult then. And if you fail it, you waste a lot more time retrying than if you fail it from the south. But apart from that, it should just be just as easy, if not easier.
Oh my gosh, that is huge
Well, that
format.
is a piece of equipment.
That is, yeah. Holy,
Not just leaving. Does he know it's a pendant? Oh, he does know it. Yeah, he's checked. He went back in to check the letter. He does know it's a pendant. Okay.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. All right. So that is our miss. Like that actually opens up a ton. And actually, that's probably one of the reasons why Matt got like so excited. He's like, wait. Like, let me check to make sure if this is actually a crystal or not. Because chances are, if it's a crystal, he's gonna finish it. But those myths open up just like so much of the rest of the world, right? It looks like we're going to do a check of at least Dark Death Mountain since we're up here. We have what, Ice Palace available? Not in logic, but I mean, we can get there. We have the Mire area as well. Like, Phaaze needs to get back there.
Yeah, but the good news for Phaaze is that myths, because you listed off a long list of places that the myths opens up, Phaaze can't go to any of those places without the myths. So I feel like he's going to get bottlenecked into going there at some point. And if he happens to find another more obscure item on his travels while looking for those myths, then he can still swing this around. Last locating the myths is not the worst thing he could do in the game.
That's true.
There's the flippers there in Hookshot Cave, right? Phaaze can't go in swamp looking for myths.
That's true. Oh man, and there's a big key to Ice Palace as well, dude. We have okay, so we're still looking at Sword apparently. You know, after still all this time, but you know that, and we don't have Bombos or Fire Rod. But I mean, you know, these are some really nice items here at Hookshot Caves. Flippers, big key to Ice Palace. You know, Matt I think has some good direction, you know, for where he wants to go next.
Yeah, although we can't get in the door to Ice Palace any more than he can get in the door to Agus Tower. Well, he can get in the door to Agus Tower, but he can't get
we still can't get past this place.
Just give the man a sword, okay? So where is Matt going now? Maybe doing some mirror checks? Or...
Yeah, is it swamp maybe?
Oh yeah, with flippers now. Yeah, you can do swamp.
But I think he wants to change his mind in this case. He wants a potion. I guess he wants a blue potion.
You want a blue potion for swamp?
We're gonna find out together what Matt wants to do with that potion.
Is he worried he's gonna run out of magic using his lamp and Argus or his Quake medallion? I don't know.
That's with our you know 0 swords that we have. But man, Argus on only hammer though will certainly be, you know, quite the challenge.
Yeah, and it's one of those like I wonder what his menu looks like. Does he have few enough items to quick swap? What's that?
Between like the hammer and the hookshot?
That was 3 quick swaps, I think.
That is a lot.
Hookshot and hammer. Because when you don't have, like, he only has 1 medallion and he doesn't have any rods. So from the hookshot it goes powder, quake, lamp, hammer, 4. So that's 4 moves. So you could do that instead of menuing.
Oh man, that still sounds pretty difficult.
I'd still rather go that way than the other way because there's no mirror that way.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a very, very important fact to keep in mind. Mirroring a quick swap is, you know, while it is very speed efficient, you really don't want to accidentally press that mirror when you're trying to, you know, use the hammer.
Alright, here's a Guinness cave. We didn't see this from Matt, I don't think.
We did not know.
Okay, it's nothing. But they do say there's always a sword in swamp, so...
Yeah, we're gonna kind of hope for maybe 3. You know, Tempered Sword, Argus. Oh my gosh, dude, there's a fire.
That's a nice item.
That is our next.
That is another myths-locked item.
Okay, well, it actually looks like, is this going to be Phaze's trip up to Hera, actually to Hera Basement? This is going to be really good news for Phaaze. He is going to be able to get the rest of his stuff. Assuming this is Hera Basement.
But this is literally just Hera Basement. I'm kind of surprised. Oh, he can't do the Back of Thieves. I forgot he's no big key.
Right, yeah, we haven't found that
He
yet.
can't get into Desert. He's done all of Eastern except the big key. He's done all of the Overworld. This is probably all he has left. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is it. He just got locked into this check sooner rather than later. So so in a way, it's worked out that other items like the Fire Rod and the Flippers were mids locked.
Somewhat, a little still disappointing though. I mean, it's like, or maybe it was just foreshadowing, right? It's like that we got Hera's small key very early on, and it's not like you really wanted to lead to anything, just because it's going to take a forever check, in order to get it. But I mean, this particular case, right? Game probably just gave you this thing, for a reason.
Well, I think I don't know. People say that game gave you things for a reason. I don't know. The game gives you things, and they might mean something or they might not. You just go to your best checks, I think. But I think it's just legitimately the only thing he had left, or one of the better things. This is never a good check because he would want to combine this with the book, or he'd want to combine this with having the big key to get some extra checks. So he'd never want to come here any sooner than he really has to. So this must be all he has left.
Yeah. Looks like both Phaaze and Matt are having a little bit trouble lighting these torches because that is actually one of the hardest things to do in the game. Guaranteed.
Yeah, it's right up there with lifting pots. It's like it's impossible.
Alright, so while Matt does have kind of a head start getting into Swamp Palace, kind of using all of the mid-slot items that he, and that Phaaze is going to find here very shortly in Hookshot Cave, flippers, potentially soon Big Key to Ice Palace, but probably more importantly the flippers. We're going to basically, get into Swamp. We found a book, by the way. That's well, I guess we're here, like right next to Bombo's tablet, at least.
Yeah, you can check that and read immediately after. It's always quite nice. You obviously can't get it without any swords, but you can still check it. So it's Bombos to open up Turtle Rock. I guess Matt checked that already as well. That's good information. I largely expect Phaaze to follow in Matt's footsteps.
Yeah. I mean, especially like the major ticket item here, of course, is the flippers, and so I think we had hookshot check, from item number 1 in Seg Chest. We had an early mirror mini Moldorm Cave. We had a hammer. I mean, it's a very logical place to go. Yeah,
the only thing that kind of surprises me, like, I think I mentioned this last time I was in comms with you, but I'm a big fan. Oh, nice vanilla-ish big key.
I was gonna say that's a really well-placed big key there.
The only thing there's always a sword in Swamp. Just forget
That's right. We have faith. Everyone has faith in Swamp Palace. That's right. There's alright, so 50 minutes it has a sword.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I really like nipping into the mire area because there's several really quick checks, and I'm kind of surprised you would rush Swamp without the Swamp Big Key, without maybe doing those checks real quick. But it's okay because the Big Key was in Swamp, so what's the problem?
Exactly.
What's the problem? Just go to where the things are.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what, basically, like, Matt and, slightly delayed in this case on Phaze's part, with kind of like a pseudo last location for, Miss, but I mean, they've pretty much gone to, they made excellent progress, both of them.
Phaaze is doing what I suggested, and Phaaze is 1-0 up, so, like, that's like redemption from earlier.
Okay,
but I guess the person who was 1-0 down did.
Alright, so that is quick, by the way, to get into Mire. We both, both Phaaze and Matt have a quick medallion from Pod Basement. So, TBD whether or not we actually want that. I'm going to assume that Phaaze is not going to go in right now.
Well, Phaaze has no sword, he can't
use it. Right, that's also good.
He needs the sword from Swamp or elsewhere. Phaaze is going to check Desert, I'm guessing, though.
Oh, right, okay. I was going to say, I thought you checked Desert Ledge, but it turns out it was a small key, and we didn't know what it was, and we had to actually basically run all the way down in order to get it.
So we don't have the Desert Big Key, but we do have the Desert Small Key, so that we can get 4 of these items, which is nice.
So, yeah. Meanwhile, Matt has made his way back to Argus. You can see, while, having a sword is probably better than having 0 swords. A fighter's sword Argus is still pretty terrible.
Yeah, he's doing alright. It's a little annoying, but it's actually not that different from the Master Sword fight, because you're still sitting there doing a spin, and the spin just hits twice when it's a fighter sword.
Poor Matt.
Well,
Poor Matt. Oh, Oh yeah, looks like he's gonna resort back to the hammer. By the way, we got a lot of GT small keys. By the way, like I think this is according to actually like our tracker Nerve and George, like this is 4 GT smalls now that at least is on Phaaze's side. Oh, and the big key
there's our Eastern big.
Yeah.
Phaaze should probably go there now instead of Swamp. Which shouldn't make a huge difference because they'll both do it at some point.
Yeah, and of course, both of them, have already cleared out pod, right? And so, like, it really is just kind of like an isolated, like, eventually both runners will basically go back into Eastern Palace and clear it.
Yeah.
So.
I guess the only way it matters is if Matt goes there later, but also has a couple of pod smalls and does.
Oh right, that's true. Checks. We do have a couple more checks. That's right. Oh yeah. Speaking of pod smalls.
Phaaze is getting the pod smalls.
Okay, so...
Did we catch what was on a Bombus tablet? I just missed that.
I think it was a compass. It was like, you will now know where the boss is or something like that, so I think that's compass text. We probably don't care at this point.
Yeah.
Not that Matt could, get it to begin with.
Yeah, now with the sword, I'm not surprised Matt is choosing Ice Palace over Mired Desert Area because Ice Palace is now fully clearable.
Oh yeah,
so that makes it probably a little better than going to the Mire area where things are like either partially clearable or pendants.
Yeah, that's actually a good point too. And the fact that we did have the Ice Palace big key, from Hookshot Cave, right? I mean, I think you mentioned earlier, right? Some people, would be very hesitant to kind of rush Swamp without the big key, but well, in this case, like we actually have it before going into the dungeon.
So Phaaze is going to Swamp now without doing Eastern first, which does surprise me because what if the Swamp Big was an Eastern? Or what if the book was an Eastern, or what if Eastern had a sword or two, or there's things you would want before Swamp, whereas Eastern's always going to be the same. You've got a bow, got a big key, just go beat the boss. Yeah. So this surprises me, but he's not going to get punished for it because the sword and the big key are in Swamp.
Yeah, and I guess it's maybe still TBD. So certainly, I think you mentioned earlier, like just like Hera Basement, in keys modes, you're just going to probably, there's not going to be too much of a question. You're going to probably clear left side Swamp, just like for Hera, you're just going to go do it, especially in this case. But I guess it's still TBD whether or not that book is actually going to pay out, right? Because we did say on that side, of course, that the book, at least on Bubbles tablet, had nothing. Speaking of Bubbles. And I guess we just don't know in this case like what either tablet will hold. Of course, Matt has a little bit more incentive to go back up there because he hasn't done Spike Cave either. So combining that with either tablet would be pretty sensible. Phaaze, again, that would be like his third individual trip up, right? The mountain on the left side in order to try and make a check.
Yeah, that's true, but like if either tablet or Hera Big Key come up,
Oh yeah. He's definitely going to go up. It's just right. He just won't feel very good about it.
Yeah, I don't think either will feel good if they go back, even though Matt got the Hera Basement first time. I fully expect Phaaze to do all of Swamp as well. He should do it the same way. So you'll notice that the runners Phaaze is doing it the other way. So what Matt did was Matt grabbed the small key from the ledge and jumped up and went straight left side, and that's slightly faster because then you do the compass chest here at the end just before you go to the big chest, just before you go to the back, and that's just slightly faster routing. What did we get?
We got a big key to Tower of Hera.
Let's pretend that.
Yeah.
Just ignore that. It's not a thing.
That's right. Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We should all focus on the fact that Phaaze got a sword.
Don't even mark it. Just leave it blank on the track.
Yeah, it looks like they'll but as soon as Stalfos gets out of Phaze's way, he is also going to try and set up the diver down on the left side. Gonna go pick up his book as well. Meanwhile, Matt, I don't think we definitely did not find a big key to Hera, but I don't think we really found anything else in Ice Palace either. Like
no, there was nothing at all in Ice Palace. No key items at all. Now Matt is happy with this. Now Matt is happy as this blue potion. I'm just surprised he bought it before Swamp because he could have found a blue potion in Swamp, for example. But obviously, you definitely want it for Ice, unless you magically found Tempered Sword or something. But even then, like,
Oh, jeez. I mean, well, so Matt got his first sword at 50 minutes. Phaaze got his first sword at like 56 minutes. I don't know how hopeful these guys are for the remainder of the sword prospects here.
Well, once you get one sword, the others just throw themselves at you. That's
Yeah,
usually what it works.
Do we need like a sick kid equivalent for swords, right? You know, we finally got one bottle. We talked to sick kid. We got another bottle. We finally got one sword. Is there like a armory kit or something like that?
Well, that's kind of like the tablets, you know.
Oh,
But you need 2 swords
you
for them.
need 2 swords. Oh man,
And then,
that's
you've
a
got
high
2
priority
swords, use the
entry.
3rd.
Alright, so that's actually pretty nicely done on actually on Matt's side to take out the cold stare pose with mainly just the hammer. Did get hit a bunch, or a few times, but we got red mail, again, one of those nice luxuries that, you don't typically get to see that often. But, Matt basically was not too worried then about dying at the cold stare.
Yeah, that was a very good aggressive fight with the hammer. Alternatively, he could have just chugged his potion and spammed fire rod shots,
Right.
but when you're that effective with the hammer, that's probably okay as well.
Alright, yeah, so I was actually, thinking about, and I was gonna ask you, as basically Matt, as soon as you have cold stare shady, okay, so now that we did have a sword coming out of Swamp, right, at least kind of on the Phaze's side, when do you go do Aghanim for that ice rod?
Like, the only consideration is when, are you gonna have the fastest equipment to do Aga? Like, with a fire rod, you can just fire rod spam things, and with the bow. So yeah, whenever you want to do Aga is fine, and this is just as valid as any other time, really.
Okay. Yeah,
If he's ever planning on going to the Kakariko area for whatever reason, like for example to beat Skull Woods, then maybe you could combine the Lumberjack with going to Skull Woods, and maybe that's what he has in mind here. But I'm not sure how valid that is with the flute, because you're even from the Lumberjack, you're just going to flute to the Kakariko anyway, and then get the portal. So I'm not sure how valid that is. But that's the kind of thing you would think of when deciding when to go beat Aga.
Okay, well, so once you do beat Aga, though, right? Like, you are on the pyramid, so like, is it actually then faster to kind of like mirror into like the is it like the West Side Breeze and go to Lumberjack?
That's my favorite thing to do, is to dash down from the pyramid. You get the hook speed, and you go to the top left corner of the courtyard at the bottom, and then you mirror there, and then you do the West Side Breeze. But I haven't timed it. I just feel like it's a pretty good move. It's probably almost identical to fluting to 8 and getting the Zora portal up. And it's probably very close to just fluting to Kakariko as well. Probably all 3 routes are close, but I don't know which is fastest.
No, that's certainly really good knowledge to know. I will say, I didn't realize that Argus also dropped a fairy in a bottle, so that's another one. But I was gonna say, like, Phaze's Argus fight was actually very, very solid. Like, nailed basically a lot of like the double spins, the double puff kills, kind of in one, mini phase, and then really nice phase 2. Basically got Argus trapped in a corner and just spammed that fire rod.
One mini phase, I see what you did.
That's right. Dude, nice hook speed out of Swamp 2. Yeah, so quite not exactly, the castle tower climb that Matt is probably exactly used to. Just because he is here with the Master Sword, but still, again, very accomplished energy runner. I think he is very, very familiar with these rooms.
Yeah, he's probably used to having a better sword here, but this is fine too.
Yeah. And of course, Aghanim doesn't care, whether or not, what kind of sword you have. He will, face you just the same.
Kind of wish the bug net was required for Aga. That would make
Dude, that'd be so sweet. make that Zora trip, right? 100% required.
In Swordless, it almost is. Like, you can still do it with the hammer, but in the bug net is so nice.
Yeah,
especially when you do the net dashes with the boots.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking of, so as Matt is kind of fighting Aga, this is, one of those things, especially for energy runners who are, not super, into seeing how many, playing the RNG game for, how many blue balls Aga's can throw you. Of course, this is rando. We do have the same seeds, so whatever experience, in this case, Matt goes through, Phaaze is going to go through the same thing. And of course, we know that there is a reason why, Matt and Phaaze are going to, at some point, go defeat Aga, and which is, there is a nice ice rod sitting on Lumberjack that we need for Crystal Trinus.
Yeah, like in NMG runs, you often care and you count all the blue balls. I never pay any attention in rando to what it is because I know my opponent has the same.
Exactly.
Unless I think I'm doing Aga and I don't need to, and then I'm worried.
Oh.
Then I'll count and I'll cry with each one.
Oh no, shady. Alright, looks like the Phaaze is going to use a little bit of a buffer, pause buff, menu buffers in order to try and get through Icebreaker. Eventually does get it through. So he's going to just take a very nice shortcut over into the back side of Ice Palace.
Okay, so Matt has chosen the Flute 8 warp to get to the Lumberjack Ledge.
Yeah, not exactly, the NMG screen, because I think you do, start from the left side, but yeah, this is especially if you run NMG cross keys, traveling, you mentioned this earlier, right? Traveling via Whirlpool is really good game knowledge.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see what Phaaze is going to choose now. What's his route going to be to Lumberjack? But anyway, Matt's going to get his Ice Rod, and we have a Bombos Medallion, and we have a Samaria, and we have a big key and 3 small keys.
Oh yeah, actually,
and we have a sword, so
yeah, we have a sword. Actually, so yeah, just taking stock at slightly over an hour in, basically, are we just missing a sword at this point?
That is a good question. We need the Desert Big Key.
Oh, right.
And Matt needs the Eastern Big Key.
Pesky,
where was that? I thought that was somewhere on the way.
Yeah, so the Eastern Palace Big Key was on the desert right side. It was in the vanilla Big Key chest.
Oh yeah, and Matt hasn't done Mireshed Desert yet. Yeah. So after, okay, so that's why Matt's not in Eastern area. Because I forgot to mention earlier, another important consideration for when you do Aga is that you don't want to have to go to the Eastern screen after you beat Aga, because the red guards there are miserable.
Yeah,
they're just so annoying. So that's why I was momentarily surprised he didn't go beat Eastern before he goes and beats Aga. But he doesn't have the big key, and that's why.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting him to beat Skullwoods here, and then he'll probably go to the Mire area. The problem is he might not get to the Mire area now. He might just want to say, oh, I can beat Turtle Rock, let me go and do that. So I'm a little concerned that he's eventually going to get the Eastern Big, but...
Yeah, but I guess if Turtle Rock has the Desert Palace Big Key, that is going to basically send Matt straight over to Desert too, right?
That's true, that'll work in his favor then, yeah.
Alright, looks like though Phaaze doesn't quite have that blue potion luxury, I think, that Matt does. So he actually took a little bit extra time in order to probably fill up his magic bar. Of course, he does have the sword, so he might use bombos. Looks like he is, yes, going to use bombos, especially being on fighter sword and only hammer. Probably a good idea just if he could save himself some extra fire rod shots.
Yeah, I think we're using bombos so you get 6 fire rod shots, and I think if you do it right, that's enough to kill Goldstare. Maybe you need a little bit of luck with the way the recoil is. This is very close to being very good, but I think he wasted one of his shots. He was a little bit unlucky as well.
Okay, yeah, looks like
but he can finish it up with the hammer. Yeah, this should be no problem at all.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually holding out his sword for a little bit more stability. That was actually, really nice cleanup actually on Phase's side. Not quite as aggressive, I think, as Matt, just because I think it was probably more, in Coldstare's face. But I mean,
he still probably saved time because he had more fire rod shots, so he did a lot more damage before he got to the hammer.
Right.
Matt was very low on magic when he went into the fight, so I think Phase's fight overall was still faster.
Yeah. Dueling boss fights, between Phaaze and Matt. So Matt was busy taking down Mothula with the hammer. I mean, I think there was maybe a sword spin in there or two, but otherwise, yeah. Now, basically, I think Phaaze and Matt are kind of both in the time of trying to basically knock down dungeons. Matt's gonna give us actually a quick pet check. It's just a heart container. I don't actually know whether or not he. Maybe he's trying to see if the Desert Palace Big Key is on Ped, which I think at this point it looks like it could be, right?
For him, his perspective, Eastern Big could be on Ped as well.
Oh, right, that's right. Alright, so just with the difference of items collected from both runners, Phaaze is back here in the Eastern Palace pod area. It looks like actually he's gonna clear out Eastern for sure, but then it looks like, you know, since he is still looking for that, well, both runners are both looking for Sword and Desert Palace Big Key, probably wants to take a little bit more exploration also in Palace of Darkness after, you know, coming here with a couple more keys.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by this, but I think I understand it. If you're going to go into Pod, I think you should have done Skullwoods first, because you definitely want to do the back of Skullwoods, and then you do Eastern, and then you go into Pod.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he wasn't intending to do Pod first, and he was just going to go to Eastern and then do Skullwoods, and then he realized, oh, maybe I should just go into Pod. So we saw a little hesitation there.
Right.
So I think he changed his mind at the last second. But I think in hindsight, he'll probably regret not having done Skullwoods before coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pod is like, it's not a place you want to go unless you're you've done all your full clearable crystals first.
Right, yeah, and you know, and like these types of checks, right, in Pod, you know, we have like, you know, the Harmless Hellway and, you know, Vanilla Big Key checks. They're not, I mean, I guess like they're not exactly like the shortest checks, you know, in Pod. You still gotta go in there, and it is, you know, not exactly like the furthest out, but it is still, you know, pretty, you know, into the dungeon itself, right? They're not exactly
it's two slow checks, yeah. And like this kind of thing wins or loses races. Mm-hmm. The time taken to do 2 extra Pod checks, or, you know, the 10-15 seconds longer you take in a boss fight. These are the kind of margins that win or lose races, especially linear kind of seeds like this, where the runners are going to do mostly the same thing.
Yeah, you know, speaking of, you know, linear seeds, right? So I think we have a little bit of freezing on, you know, technical difficulties on Matt's side, but yes, like I believe that is no mo for both runners. He found the Desert Palace Big Key in the compass chest of Turtle Rock. So this is, you know, just keep clearing crystal dungeons at this point. So that Desert Palace Big Key is gonna lead basically Matt straight into Desert Palace after this.
Yeah, Matt's in really good shape now with the items where they are. I guess he hasn't done Spike Cave, and he might do Spike Cave after Turtle Rock, so I think Phaaze might still have a little bit of time to catch up. Matt's going to full clear Turtle Rock, whereas Phaaze is going to be in go mode as soon as he finds the big key, and then he can skip everything else in Turtle Rock, including he won't go near the lava chest, he won't go to Mimic Cave or the big chest, he can just rush straight to the boss.
Oh yeah, that's actually true too. That's how they
are. Well, they are looking for a sword though, so we don't know where the swords are.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, okay, so, you know, we had faith in Swamp, right? That we found a sword there, only one apparently, but, you know, surely Turtle Rock will have another sword for us.
Yeah, between Turtle Rock
GT,
and Ganon's Tower, yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully something won't be good. We are alright. So magically, Matt has warped over to Chomp's. I'm sure one of his, you know, most favorite screens in the entire game of Turtle Rock, especially.
Yeah, that's why he's spending a lot of time.
Exactly.
In the room. Yeah, next slide, please.
Yeah, we're kind of eager to know whether or not Matt actually has, in this case, he's gonna find a sword along the way. Now, of course, right, one sword is requisite in order to beat the rest of the game. You know, Master Sword Silverless is not probably, again, both runners are very, very capable of beating the game on Master Silverless. It is not just like the fastest fight. So, you know, if Silvers can potentially show up somewhere, maybe that's asking for too much. That would be really nice. Tempered Sword, I think, would also really help out.
Just realized we've been on Phaze's audio the whole time as well, with the vanilla music. We didn't get any Donkey Kong Country beats, and now we can't because it's frozen.
True. Yeah, exactly.
And now it's too late. Maybe if he makes a comeback, we can try and switch.
Yeah. Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties. Looks like actually Matt's stream is down momentarily, so hopefully it will come back up. But until then, we're just gonna enjoy the Castle Tower experience on Phaze's side. The good thing he has at least a full magic bar, because, you know, you talk about, you know, red guards, especially, you know, post-Aga Overworld Eastern Palace being, you know, pretty awful. Yeah, they're all here in Castle Tower. Fire Rod is gonna be a heck of a lot nicer to be able to use than that Fighter Sword.
Yeah, the most important trick of the game is coming up soon. The hook dash at the top of the tower.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Matt actually got pretty far, so hopefully Phaaze is gonna give us also a very strong showing here.
Yeah, Matt was a little over halfway, like maybe 5, 6 out of 10. So let's see what Phaaze can do.
Okay, all right, yeah. So you had like an ice skating competition. Judges, like we're gonna do like hook speed judges here in Castle Tower.
All right, Phaaze, what you got?
Oh no, Phaaze! Oh no!
I hate it when that happens.
Oh no!
Oh, that's so annoying. Like, it's something about the way you exit the staircase. If you cancel the stair lag when you exit it, then you don't get the super speed state. He's obviously done the glitch state, but he hasn't got the super speed. And it's not worth going back, so you just have to do the dash up of shame. Oh man.
Don't worry about watching this back, Phaaze. We also both support you very much.
Oh, I've been there where he is.
No, yeah.
Dash up of shame. It's coming from empathy rather than just sympathy.
Yeah.
I assure him.
Oh no, 100%. No, these guys are both really awesome runners. Actually, they actually do stream quite a bit. Again, like so Matt probably has done more NMG as of late. Just because he is on like the 124 goal. Again, Phaaze, very very accomplished cross keys runner, does a lot of entrance. Actually, just yeah, if you ever want to go check out the streams, be sure to do so.
Yeah. So the interesting thing on Matt's side is that. He doesn't have a sword, but also he has only opened 10 of 12 chests in this dungeon.
Does that mean he skipped the outside?
It means he skipped something. I think he must have skipped Mimic
No,
Cave
he skipped Lava Chest, right? Because he's gonna get 11 out of 12 on Trident.
Oh,
right?
Of course, you're right. Yeah, he skipped that one. I'm an idiot. Okay, he skipped Lava Chest because he only had 3 keys.
Right, but yeah.
That means he has done the big chest.
Oh, he has a Master Sword, dude.
He does have a Master Sword.
Alright, okay, so somewhere in Turtle Rock or Mimic Cave, we found a sword, so I think Matt, he might still open, okay, so he does have to still open up some things, right, on his path. Gonna go and clear up Desert Palace is next, and then, of course, on the way is gonna be Eastern Palace. We already saw things aside that Eastern doesn't have any real extra value to help them out. But then, of course, there's the GT Big Key Hunts, and so surely, somewhere, hopefully, we'll have something for Matt and Phaaze.
Oh, I hope not. I want to see a Master Sword.
You want to see a Master Sword fight?
You don't want to see a Master Sword Sylvanus fight?
This
is the top 64 of the tournament. I want to see nice, difficult Ganon fights.
I mean, but this is also like this is a race too, right? Like we want people to go fast. Okay, you know what? I
want the boats to have it. Like I want the boats to have the same Master Sword Sylvanus fight.
Yes, that.
Yeah, I don't want it to be just hard for one of them.
Right. That's certainly true. I was gonna say though, we do want to go fast, but honestly, like this seed has just rewarded and just given so many gifts to our runners early on, right? We got a hook shot, checks number 1 is Sank Chest. We had boots just sitting in the mushroom spot in Lost Woods. That was basically our second check. I mean, we got an early flute, I think, from, the front of Escape. I mean, you really can't complain about movement. Now, of course, the first sword didn't really show up until 15 minutes later, but that's just a very minor detail. We got all the movement,
just a tiny detail.
Oh, alright, Matt. Yeah, actually, still looking, he's like, oh, maybe I'll have this monkey. Actually, that's GT, I mean, he already had 2. Looks like he's his 3rd one, probably.
Yeah, I don't know what that... I guess maybe if it was a pod small and he needed both chests and pod, I guess that's the only way it could have mattered, that small key, but... Sometimes it takes time to think about whether you care about the key or not, and you should just pick it up and move on. So he's doing the boss first in Desert. Hopefully he goes into Desert first. I would be surprised if he didn't, because he doesn't have a great option. He could do Mire instead of Desert, though.
The front of Desert? But he's like right here, right? I don't know. Like, would you skip the front of Desert?
Mire's right here too, though. He probably does Desert first, because he's in the light world, right? He doesn't want to go to the dark world. But I guess it's not 100% automatic that he does Desert. The front of Desert.
Matt's been on restream so many times, and yet I have yet to see a bow landmost from him. I don't think this is going to be any different, Shady.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, he's got a fire rod, though.
I know.
So right now, switch to bow.
Okay, come on, Matt. Of course.
Hammer? What's that?
Hammer. It's like he picked up this thing that does temper sword damage, and he's like, I want to use it or something.
Oh, let's see. Do we have the ability to change the music? Let me try this. Switch to this player. All right, let's see if that works. Chat, let us know.
Yo, I heard DKC music.
Oh, it's very low. I need to turn it up in some way. Sorry, Mouse. I need to turn you down. No offense.
Thanks, Shady. I take every offense. This is awesome though. Yeah. I mean, so right. So I think this is actually somewhat new actually from people. So this actually starting this tournament, SG was very kind to support the use of MSU. So typically speaking, we've been basically with vanilla audio, which is still really good music, but just kind of shows us another great way to enjoy the game is from basically soundtracks or music from other games. And this particular one, Matt has actually chosen to use the DKC trilogy. Which, if you ever play those games, super fun. Also, really great for speed. This is a really nice MSU pack to chill too. Alright, right, we're here in the front of Desert. This is going to be Matt's go mode very, very shortly because we both know, or we've seen before, that on Phaaze's side, he picked up the Eastern Palace big key, on Desert right. So very momentarily, this is going to be Matt's actual go mode. We have a real sword. And we're gonna have like an actual real big key.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a race. Matt is going to have a small to medium-sized lead. Phaaze has to do all of Turtle Rock, but he will have a relatively fast Turtle Rock because his go mode is in the front. His go mode Desert big. I guess it depends on where the sword is that Phaaze needs to find. I forgot about that. Phaaze will probably still look for the sword, so maybe Phaaze doesn't get the full benefit of a go mode Turtle Rock.
Speaking of full benefit, oh man, this, it looks like you have so much space, right? But some reason, these dead rocks, they just take up so much real estate. I don't know. We should put them on a diet, Shady.
Sometimes you can still squeeze through if you face sideways instead of face up, and then start a dash. But it's a bit. This is the good thing about overworld glitches is you can just flip into the wall and get around them that way.
Overworld glitches are strongly not recommended, by the way, for this tournament.
They're not allowed in this tournament, but in like an overworld glitches rule set, where there's a whole bunch of overworld glitches people in the community that do races on pretty regularly.
That's true.
In that type of rule set, you can just clip past the dead rocks. That's the only time I'm jealous I'm not playing overworld glitches, to be honest.
That's true. I mean, the fact that it is overworld glitches though basically lets you get some actually pretty tedious checks, right? If you see something on bumper ledge, it's free for you to take.
Yeah, it's not even the only time I'm jealous actually, because if you're in go mode and you just need to go beat Trinex, you can just clip into the back as well. Almost like an inverted
that's true.
straight to the laser bridge. So there's some nice things for it, but none of them are allowed in this journey, unfortunately.
Yeah, and of course, any feedback, of course, simply submit it at the end of this tournament. Admins are more than happy to listen. All right, okay. So I was gonna say, so Phaaze picks up his go mode big key at least, for Desert Palace. But yes, as you mentioned, Shady, we are kind of more eyes on Phase's side now, just because we don't know where Matt got his sword. Somewhere in Turtle Rock. So presumably he will still check. I guess maybe the question is he going to go outside?
Well, he didn't check roller room. He just skipped past it.
Yeah. So maybe he does actually have faith in another sword will show up somewhere in GT.
Yeah, I don't think, based on the screenshots we had of Matt, that it was in roller room, but I'm actually not 100% sure. I guess. Oh yeah, Matt was still looking for the big key, so even if he found it early, he would have still searched everything.
Right.
So I guess we'll find out on Phase's side. I'm a little worried. If Phaaze misses this, then Phaaze is going to have a sword disadvantage. So even if there is a sword on the path, then Matt's probably going to get it as well. So Phaaze is going to lose a bit more time that way. For now though, Matt's heading to GT, and Phaaze still has half of Turtle Rock to do, and then to go and beat Desert. So this is a sizable lead for Matt actually.
Yeah, it looks like though Phaaze is trying to kill out the pokies. Looks like he is actually going to go outside. But no, never mind. He's just going to go straight. He's not going to go outside. That's perfectly good as well.
Yeah, I expect him to just check Laser Bridge for quick checks. It's pretty reasonable, but
Oh, man,
yeah,
the music
people,
is so
you're allowed to
good.
guess numbers for GT Big Key. Even though it's Key Sanity, the GT Big Key will be in GT somewhere. In 22
Yeah.
text, so you're allowed to put numbers in chat. We'll allow it.
I'm glad you approve, JD. I was actually going to say
Yeah.
also, the fact that this is actually, tournament key sanity, right? We kind of did mention the Castle Tower small keys and the GT big key are fixed. We actually got to take advantage of both of them in this seed, right? This was an Agassade because Ice Rod was, very snugly sitting in a Lumberjack. So we had to go be Aghanim for it because, this is Crystal Shrine, and we're, of course, always have to go through GT.
Yeah, this is the sad thing about the GT Big. Like, one of the nice things about Key Sanity is going into Ganon's Tower and then just going straight upstairs. So I missed that aspect.
Looks, oh, interesting. Phaaze is going to take a safety. Okay, we are going to take a safety door. Oh my god. Thank you, Red Mail, by the way. We have Red Mail. Everything's fine.
Yeah, you had a good number of hearts and red mail in the boots. I'm a little surprised about the safety door, but
All right, so that's Matt. This Phase's fourth bottle. This sword situation though isn't looking very promising.
It's in this chest.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, okay, so yeah.
There is so there is of course still sword possibilities, and Phaaze could take a different route than Matt, so searching for that big key depending on where it is. But it is certainly quite the situation here though for Phaaze.
Yeah, I think fans of Game 3s are happy with this outcome because it's looking pretty good.
Now, of course, keep in mind that, so if there is no sword on the path here for Matt, we are still to stare down a Master Sword Silverless fight, so it is still, not an easy fight in order to get through, still quite an endurance battle. Probably the bigger piece of news, though, for Phaaze is that, because we know there's a Master Sword somewhere, either in Roller Room or outside of Turtle Rock, like Big Chest or, Mimic Cave, he will have to go find, another sword somewhere.
Yeah, and you'll have to open extra checks in GT looking for the sword as well, so it's hard to see the gap closing without big mistakes from that.
Yeah.
We never were shown big mistakes of that magnitude.
Right,
and Phaaze, okay, well now you need your blue potion.
Oh, he does have. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say he's not in danger of dying. It looks like, but yes, the magic is definitely gonna be a bit precarious. All right, so that is the big key in Stalfo's room, the very last possible check. So Matt's gonna climb now. So there are 4 more checks, of course, at the top of GT. And we have 2 in the mini Helmasaur room, 1 pre-Moldorm, 1 post-Moldorm, for an additional possibility of silvers or a sword. But kind of looking at where that position is, sort of where the GT big key is, because it is so early, not gonna look like, yeah, as you just said, Shady, like, Phaaze is probably gonna clear more of the basement, looking for stuff, right? I don't know if he'll climb, in hopes of finding a Master Sword, like, up top here.
Phaaze will clear probably all of the basement except for Tile Room and then climb, that's my guess.
Yeah, that is a very difficult decision.
It's kind of like you could do Tile Room after the basement, but you can't climb without doing pretty much all of the basement looking for the sword.
Right.
As long as you remember to look at the big chest as well. Yeah, Phaaze has desert to do as well, though. So
right,
Phaaze is still hoping for a sword here.
Yeah, right. So Phaaze has desert, and then he has also another mountain climb. This is not something that you can, I guess, save your portal for. Oh no, we can't even save our portal. Never mind, because we already beat Aga. Never mind. Yeah, Phaaze is gonna have to climb basically the mountain all over again. Alright, so yeah, Matt, so the good thing, of course, is we have boots. And Matt, this is, okay, if you're gonna put any, runner, basically on a Master Sword gauntlet, Matt is certainly going to be, one of the guys to do so. Execution is incredibly strong, and, for someone of his caliber, always kind of nice, I think you mentioned earlier, to get to see, the challenges, what he will do in the face of, and when facing adversity.
Yeah, it's not. It's some of these gauntlet rooms are just a little bit more awkward depending on the RNG with the Master Sword.
Where is the bow, Matt? I don't know if you're listening right now, but that was a very awesome opportunity to basically use a couple more arrows. He must have another blue potion, I assume. I mean, like, at this point, if we are still, of course, staring down Master Sword Silverless, Torch Glitch is going to be pretty, important to keep, so long as we can, because we'll have to spend a lot of times in Phase 4. So I'm going to assume that Matt is still very much aware of his magic management.
He should be fine. If he didn't have a lamp, it would be problematic. But with the lamp, you can just use the lamp for Torch Glitch, and maybe use the lamp for a couple of doubles or triples, and then use the Fire Rod, and you'll have plenty. So I don't think he needs to worry too much.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of health, and he's got red mail. He could even afford to use some magic using Samaria strats if he wanted to. So
that's right. That's right. We still have the option of using Samaria strats for phases 1 and 2 for Ganon. I forgot about that. I guess I'm not sure. I'm not sure how familiar Matt is. I guess or comfortable with those strats.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Actually, I guess we'll find out.
All right.
One thing he probably can't do is use too much cape if he does not have a magic refill. But he's more magic limited than he is health limited, so that's why I think the cape is not really the thing to use.
One difference, of course, is that the Master Sword needs a couple more swings in order to take down Moldorm. Good use of the hookshot there on Matt's side. Unfortunately, nothing at the top of GT, so Matt will certainly not be on top. We're going to face down a Master Sword Silverless here on Matt's side. Phaaze, he has faith in GT at this point. He's basically going there, on Fighter Sword. I mean, we've seen a lot of the game, right? It's got to be a sword or something like, somewhere in GT basement.
Probably. Like there's two other swords out there, and I'm sure one of them is somewhere in GT. But it's going to take some Phase extra time to find it. It's probably not going to affect the race outcome as it happens. Yo, nice double.
Yeah, that Agon too. Like, can we keep that for NMG? Alright, Phaaze has entered in GT, and of course, it looks like actually very, very similar routing here, at least, compared to Matt. We're gonna do Hope Room first, into Compass Room. So, of course, we basically saw there was, like, nothing of value on Matt's side when he was over here. Most likely, we'll also mirror over to Stalfos Room in order to, and then he'll find his Bicky, and then I think, unlike Matt, who basically had the Master Sword and available to climb up the gauntlet, Phaaze is probably going to have to go look for something.
Phaaze did not light that torch. He's just gonna have to. Yeah, he can just pick up the full magic and try it again. Yeah, he didn't like the second torch. He got distracted by the Stalfos that went near him. I don't know what the Stalfos is doing up there, but he did his job.
I mean, we talk about employees of the month, right?
Employee of the month, right? That's Stalfos, yeah.
All right. So good thing. So yeah, thank you again, Red Mail. Looks like Matt actually can be a bit more aggressive for where he positions himself. Right. So of course, for Master Sword, the only way we can damage Ganon is through sword spins as opposed to sword slashes. And you can actually see that Matt was trying to like nestle himself next to a wall, just so he doesn't have to experience this like pretty hefty knockback, and recoil from whenever he lands a hit on Ganon.
Yeah, well, that bottom right position's like by far the worst one you can do, because it's a very narrow place you can stand in the bottom right where you can actually get a spin in without taking a bat hug. But this is where you really want Samaria, because all the positions Ganon can warp to, there's a place you can just plant a Samaria block to save a chunk of time that way. So there's a lot of time to be gained using Samaria in this fight, depending on his position, depending on the position Ganon warps to.
Matt actually did a really nice job avoiding some of the bats too. I mean, did take a couple hit or two, but I mean, like that very last one, basically maneuvering around the bats was very well done. On to Phase 3, but again, of course, these warps are fixed between two runners, of course, unless something unfortunate happens to one of them, in which case all bets are off.
I can't wait for the seed where both runners jump in Ganon at the same time, and then one of them dies and the other doesn't. But the person who dies gets much fewer warps and saves time.
No! Oh no!
Probably that'll never happen because you need a lot of time saved, but it would be clip worthy.
All right, so
nice torch glitch now from Matt.
Yeah,
so this is the phase he's going to be very comfortable with this as soon as he switches to the flare rod, because this is his bread and butter. This is what he does many times every single day when he's grinding for that one.
Hopefully he remembers to keep going after 12, because we need additional 12 on phase 4.
He'd be like, why is Ganon not exploding after 12?
Yeah.
He'd be like really confused. Hopefully he remembers to switch. I don't think he has enough spins with the current magic level. I think he will need to use the lamp at the end if he doesn't have a green potion. So hopefully he remembers to switch away to lamp or to drink a potion.
All right. So speaking of potential dangers here, so as we're watching Phaaze climb the gauntlet, unfortunately, when he's dashing like this, we still see that not only is there only 10 checks out of 27 on Phaaze's side with the compass, is that we are still on Fighter Sword for Phaaze, and this, while he is very capable of going through it, unfortunately, he is going to have to go look for another sword.
Yeah, and he's not gonna have he's not gonna have a great, like, where's a good option for him to go?
I don't know.
He might end up having to just climb and go back to GT.
Oh.
That might be his best option. It looks like Thieves Town is locked by GT.
Yeah.
Thieves. He's cleared out most other dungeons, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually think what else is. I mean, I guess he has Meyer available to him. Like, that is, you know, another.
But Meyer as well, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not one of those really pleasant places you want to go to. But honestly, like, you know, with like, you know, umpteen checks in GT, though, I think you're probably right in that just going back to the tower and searching for a sword might be a good idea. But until then, Matt has finished up. He has confidently gone through the rest of his NMG script with 13 through 24 spins. Get your G's out in chat for matt7898 for taking a game 2 victory over Phaaze, keeping himself alive, you know, in this tournament, and we're gonna go to a game 3.
We'll see if we can get Matt in for an interview.
All right, we are joined by today's victor, Matt. Matt, GG's. How's it going?
Hey, GG's. How's it going? Pretty good. Can't complain.
Yo, GG, Matt.
Thanks.
You can't complain? Can I start complaining right now? Matt, how many times have we watched you on Restream without using the bow on Lamos? You had multiple opportunities to see it.
Listen,
please explain.
The situation needs to present itself. It's got to be the right time. This was not the right time. Maybe the right time will happen later. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, that was my complaining. Alright. Overall, you know, like, general thoughts about the seed. How did you feel getting, you know, boots at check number 2, but, you know, sword at check number, I don't know, 50 minutes?
Yeah, it was kind of rough. Like, getting the boots early is obviously amazing. You can't really complain when that happens. But, like, being swordless for an hour, I don't know. My execution was struggling a little bit. It's just really hard to play well and dash without a sword. I felt like I didn't quite have my A game today, but it was all right. It was kind of a tough seed being swordless and on fighter sword for so long, but hey, it worked out in the end, so can't be too bad.
Yeah, I think overall, like, the routing, or like, at least, like, where, like, the item placements were, like, they didn't seem too, I guess, like, tricky, I guess. I think, like, Shady, I probably, you know, watching it, it was, I don't necessarily know if it's, like, considered, like, a linear seed, but it certainly did not look like you were really faced with any, like, major tough decisions.
Like, there were some tough decisions for sure. I think my choice of either going to the mountain when I just had Hera, Spike Cave and the 2 Spectacle Rock Cave checks versus the Pod Eastern area. I think I made the wrong call there because I was really debating it. The problem was that I had the Swamp Small, the Mirror, and the Hookshot, and I think 2 of my pod keys, or at least one of my pod keys, was slipper locked. And so I was like, I can go up there, and I just got the lamp, which you could have gone to Hera before getting the lamp, but I didn't really want to do Hera Basement. It was just kind of a very awkward decision. And so I went to Pod Eastern and found the only thing I found was the cape, which I was like, I never found another sword outside of Mimic Cave. So I was like, you know what? If he didn't find a sword anywhere else either, which I now know that he didn't, like if there was a sword in Hera or something, I might have been in a lot of trouble. But the fact that finding that cape meant you either had to double dip TR or pod area, or like very likely you would have double dipped one or the other, made me feel a little bit better. That was like the only thing that was saving me about going to Pod Eastern over the mountain and getting my mitts, which led to pretty much everything.
Yeah, you were definitely, I was gonna say, you were definitely up to Hera Basement like first because you were delayed at getting your lamp from Chess Game, I think, right? And then you got the ability to do Hera Basement, and I think Phaaze kind of went up the mountain pretty early, and then kind of had to go back, at least.
Yeah, I felt like those myths could have saved me, and I never wanted to go to the Mire Desert area because that was all out of logic, and the Hyrule Castle Small Key easily could have been behind any number of my go mode. It wasn't until I found the book in Left Side Swamp that Desert became available. So I was never going to Mire. So like avoiding, the Smith Chain and Mire felt okay. Although I think it's pretty tough to get into Mire ever in this seed. But other than that, like the route was decent. You could definitely find a better route through this seed, but like finding those mitts, like getting the lamp before ever going to Hera felt kind of good, and I felt like if I was going to win, that was kind of the key to that.
Yeah, and the fact that, I mean, just like different sequencing, right? Yeah, we can still see that Phaaze is still searching for that sword, which unfortunately, like your stream cut out a little bit while you were kind of in Turtle Rock. So at the beginning, I think we saw you get the Desert Palace big key from Compass Chess. We saw a frame on Chomps, and then we saw you at Trinex, and then like we're like, okay, well, there's a sword somewhere in Turtle Rock, and it looks like it was not inside.
Yeah, it was a Mimic Cave. I guess you guys must know that by now, watching Phaze's route.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did drop some frames. I didn't even notice.
Oh, no, it's okay. It looks like though Phaaze. I think this means that Phaaze is probably has decided to call off his sword hunts. So get your GGs out in chat for Phaaze. He actually did really well on the stage. It's just kind of again some unfortunate sequencing, and like the sword hunt at the end, I think really kind of did him in. I don't know, like, what would you have done, Matt? Like, so if you're also searching for a sword and you found GT Big Key, like, in Stalfo's room, like, would you keep going in the basement? Or would you just climb?
I think it would depend on how I felt about the seed. I probably would keep going in GT basement, honestly. Okay. But I don't think I don't fault him for his play at all if he was feeling behind. I think it's fine.
Hello, Phaaze. GG's on your race.
Yo, GG, Phaaze.
GG's.
Sorry about the sword.
About the 3 swords, you mean?
Yes. Well, right. So I think, yeah. I mean, we were just actually talking with Matt a little bit earlier. So, like, unfortunately, we didn't see all of Turtle Rock on Matt's side. We only kind of got to see like what you went through. But at the beginning of Turtle Rock, Matt had Fighter Sword, and then at the end of Turtle Rock, Matt had Master Sword. We're like, oh, okay. Well, Phaaze is here. Like, surely, hopefully, he'll find a sword, right? But the main difference was that Matt was still looking for, I believe, Eastern Palace Big Key, which you had found earlier. So it wasn't quite as go mode. So I think Matt was still searching.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you had already found the Eastern Palace Big Key in Desert, and then once you got go mode, basically the first check, I think you just skipped, or you just went to the back, right? And yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a reasonable decision to like just go for the back, skip the outside checks for the sword, and hope to get one in GT. I think you're a little bit unlucky in that sense.
Yeah, it was just a sequencing. If the mids were in any other mountain check except Terra Basement that I couldn't do without the lamp, then my route would have been so nice, because then I get the flippers in Hookshot Cave, and then I get to go to to Swamp with that because I had the Swamp Small Key already. And like everything after that was basically on the way really. But yeah, missed the mids and then had to full clear everything else.
Yeah.
Except, Pyramid Ledge. Pyramid Ledge was the only thing I hadn't done. Yeah, quite unfortunate. And then like everything was kind of on the way. Finally got the sword so you can do Aga with the minimal equipment really. And then yeah, like after Ice Rod, just go to the end, hope the sword is on your way somewhere. It was not.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, and I think Shady and I were kind of talking in the middle of the stream too, and Shady mentions like, I think pre-race, right? You guys talking about like, hopefully the boots are in a good position. It's like, okay, yeah, so he's like, here are boots, check number 2. Here's hookshot, check number 1. You guys got an early flute, great. It's like, here you go. This is exactly what you asked for, and then. The swords was, I think Matt got his first sword at like 50 minutes. I think you got your sword sort of like 56-ish, something like that. I mean, basically your first sword was big chest of swamp. So.
Yep.
Still, I mean, from our perspective, you guys still put on like a really, fun like race to watch, and of course, everyone. We were hoping for Game 3. I don't know what your thoughts, particularly were, Phaaze. But I guess, yeah.
I mean, I consider myself the clear outsider here. The fact that I won the first match is already more than a miracle.
I wouldn't say that. I thought you played quite well in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
You saw my climb.
Well, okay. Other than that, I thought you played quite well. But yeah, I mean, like playing these best of 3 when you lose the first game is such a bad position because your opponent has like free reign. They can skip whatever they want, and if they lose, so who cares, right? Like he just can do whatever he wants to give himself a chance to win. So you actually are kind of forced to play aggressively because you know your opponent can, and so like being in that position kind of sucks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Game 3.
I was in the tournament Link to the Past tournament just a few months ago. They also had a best of 3 where I was 0-1 behind, and it's a really tough situation to be in. Yeah, so I know what you mean.
Do you guys have a Game 3 scheduled?
No, we gotta talk about that. I'll message you.
Yeah, we have like over a week left to schedule it, so we will find time.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like nice thing about flexibility for the first week of brackets is you get 2 weeks in order to schedule. So yeah, certainly no rush, of course. Take your time, or whatever fits your guys' schedule. Any other thoughts though? I think before we maybe wrap things up.
No, just thanks for the commentary, restream, everybody who volunteers. Really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Yep, thanks for the restream, and let's look out for game number 3.
100%. Thank you so much, for letting us restream you. I mean, it's always a pleasure to be able to watch you guys, especially from like the best seat possible, right? So very, very much appreciated, and you guys coming in as well and giving us a chance in your time. I would also like to thank so much to our tracker, Nervendeutsch. I think I probably butchered your name now about 5 different times. I apologize for that. But I mean, like this, your tracking has been actually impeccable. Like you're basically able to catch like everything. So thank you so much. I was in keys, right? Every single, I think, small key was accounted for too, right? So thank you so much. Very nice job. Shady, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining the commentary.
Oh, it's always a huge pleasure, Mouse, and good fun, and hopefully we'll get another one of these in soon.
Absolutely.
Some of these hype races that are coming up.
Yeah. And of course, good luck to you. Against Tato. I believe that's also Sunday morning, right? Starting.
Yeah, an early race on Sunday, so it's like 8 a.m. Eastern or something.
Yeah,
so everyone set your alarms.
Are you guys on like EU time or something? I can't believe you would, put a race that early.
Well, I can't believe you guys wouldn't wake up that early for a race, Yeah, we're both in the EU. Thankfully, it's nice when I draw a fellow European in the the tournament.
Yeah,
Most of the races are quite late, so.
Yeah, it's actually really cool to see some morning races too. Yes, and I do actually believe that Nuremberg is actually quite good at tracking, especially be available also for some of these EU times. So as far as tonight goes, there is actually a match starting in about 10 to 15 minutes on SpeedGaming 2. It is P-Train versus Jesse, and that should be a good match. On 5:40, there are going to be two matches. SpeedGaming 4 has McMonkey versus Airy. Game 2, there is also Schultzer versus Chloe Power on SpeedGaming 3. So lots of actually really good randos. There's a couple matches later tonight, so I mean, this is we're in full swing of bracket stage. Always just keep an eye on, look for more rando. But until then, you guys have a rest of the good night.
Have a good day, everyone.